The box office here, and the box office has been slowing down because of the end of summer. We're not gonna get many major movies probably until October when Joker 2 and Venom The Last Dance comes out, but these Aaron Romulus securely took number one spot. Who would have thought it wouldn't have taken number one, but Aaron Romulus is a number one movie. It had actually did basically what it was projected to make, $100 million. Yes, this is actually a pretty good opening for a horror movie and an R-rated movie as well. Of course, Deadpool proved us that R-rated movies can make money at the box office, a lot of money. But I think this movie is gonna make money at the box office. Movie has an $80 million budget, which means the movie is gonna break even almost very likely, kind of like A Quiet Place did. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna look up the amount it needs. $200 million. So it means it's gonna make another $100 million to break even. One thing, it is gonna make $100 million more. So yeah, Aaron Romulus has become another successful movie. So Disney is, at least for now, is toying to sip around. But in 2025 looks still pretty bleak with that Snow White remake coming out. The Lion King remake 2 coming out at the end of 2024. But yeah, hopefully Disney is probably trying to, sip around. Deadpool and Wolverine has made $1.1 billion, which makes it the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. But the problem is, even though this movie has broken even a long time ago, this movie isn't really performing that well or that much better internationally than USA. So that means this movie is not going to have Avengers or Spider-Man level numbers because of this. But it's still going to make a huge number of monies globally as well. Yeah, so China is still the highest grossing market. I think that will probably be passed by the UK at some point. As China, they have a very limited release window in that country as well. But it ends with us continues to do very well at the box office. This movie continues to do very well at the box office. This movie cost nothing to make. This movie costed $25 million to make, which means mid-budget movies are on the back. The back. Mid-budget non-franchise movies are back. They're finally back. Okay, this is how Fall Guys have been performing, and these non-franchise movies should be given a chance. And I think people are finally starting to wake up to my calls. And yes, not every new movie has to be, super successful. But these non-franchise movies, especially the big ones, really should be making money. Okay? Because they're foundations for potential future beloved franchises. Okay? Fall Guy, they were planning to give that movie a sequel. It's never going to happen because, guess what? No one went to go see it because it wasn't a sequel, prequel, or reboot. Okay? I get it's based off like some very old TV show that no one watched, but no one went to go see it. No one went to go see it. It's not a power franchise. Let's save our money for Inside Out 2 or Deadpool and Wolverine, which I think is a terrible idea. If it's not a power franchise, you should still give it a chance. I think if it ends with us, I think the audience who went to go see the movie said, you know what? Who cares? I know it's not Deadpool and Wolverine. I know it's not, Inside Out 2, these big, massive tentpole franchise movies, but it can still be a decent movie, a decent profit for the studios as well. So this movie is going to make $100 million domestically, which is very good for a non-franchise movie as well. So this movie is doing very well at the box office. So more good news, for the box office. Next is Twisters. This movie is still making money domestically, in spite its, digital release. But unfortunately, I have some bad news for people who like this movie. Well, it's still a box office failure because they spent $200 million in this movie. And what I feel the most for the happening of this movie is international markets had no interest in this movie, this international number is terrible. $800 million is terrible for a major blockbuster movie internationally. Like we all made fun of Little Mermaid, how poorly that movie did internationally. But I think that movie performing poorly internationally should have been a warning for something like this. Like this is a movie that should be doing better internationally because international markets these types of movies do well. These, blockbuster movies do very well internationally. Look at the Meg did pretty well internationally, despite it doing pretty poorly domestically. But it seems that this movie is still a box office failure simply because no one outside the US went to go see this movie. Yes, no one outside of America went to go see the Twister sequel. Okay, no one outside of America went to go see this movie. And next is Corine. Yeah, this is a release in the theaters. Apparently, this is supposed to be some classic movie, and you know, I have never watched it, so I can't tell you if it is or not. But apparently, it has such a big audience that it made $8 million. Okay, $8 million this movie made. Okay, $8 million. Okay, as well. So maybe we might see a Coraline 2 in the future. I think people will be upset about that, but I wouldn't be too surprised. I won't put it past them. But yeah, this movie has made a decent chunk of money at the box office. Next is Despicable Me 4. This movie has made $847 million. This movie is slowing down. It's not going to make $1 billion, like some people said it would. Some people on YouTube said this would make $1 billion, and everybody believed them. But it did not make $1 billion, obviously. So, Despicable Me 4 is still a very successful movie. So, next is Trap. Will this movie make even? I think it's getting close. The movie only cost like $25 million to make. So the movie is actually very close to breaking even. So that means this movie is gonna make money at the end of its box office run. It's gonna make, it needs to make at least 13 more million globally, and it's doing very well internationally. Twisters can take notes from Trap. Yeah, this movie has a terrible movie title. Okay, but yeah, this movie is doing pretty okay. It's gonna break even, so it might someone won again. So he made up for the failure of the last movie he released. So yeah, it was actually his daughter made the movie, but Inside Out 2 is still in theaters. The movie has made $1.6 billion. Who would have imagined this movie made this much money? Okay, not The Incredibles 2, but Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 practically made double the first movie. Okay, it might even break $1 billion internationally. Again, this movie is basically, if this movie performed internationally like all these other movies, it would have only made $1.2 to $1.3 billion. I think that's what people were expecting, but no one was expecting this movie to overperform this much internationally. Okay, and some of these numbers, if they're low, these are going to be records that are not going to be beaten for a while. So there's numbers in Brazil, Mexico, and many of these Latin American countries. These are actually record numbers for some of these countries. For some of these countries, they're record numbers. For UK, it isn't, but for Brazil and Mexico and Argentina and, most of these Latin American countries, these are record numbers. I think Hollywood can take notes to continue to have growth in that region. Okay? I must point out advice here, but I know Hollywood never takes my advice, so, But obviously, Latin America has around 500 million people. I think it's obvious they should focus on that market instead of focusing on China. As China is a very volatile market at this moment, so I think Latin America is more of a safer market because they have 500 million people in Latin America, more people than America, around similar amount of people to Europe. So that is they can have similar numbers to Europe from Latin America, especially in Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia. Those countries have similar populations to several European countries. So, like Mexico, obviously, it's already considered a major market. Brazil sometimes is, sometimes isn't. Sometimes movies do very well in Brazil, sometimes they don't, because Hollywood is kind of not doing that well in Brazil until this movie. So, yeah. Next movie is the Borderlands movie, and we told you so, a million times. This movie, no one likes this movie. There's just so much wrong with this movie, and no one cares. No one No one wants this movie. Someone says this is the biggest box office failure of all time. It still is less of a failure than the Marvels. Yes, it's still less of a failure than the Marvels. This shows you how big of a failure that movie was. Okay, again, the Marvels costed like $300 million to make, so, of course, that movie's gonna lose a huge chunk of money, but, you know, Borderlands, I think they should take notes on how to do video game adaptations. I think people don't really care if it's live action. Like, Borderlands, they sort of made an animated movie. I don't know why. Like, it wouldn't really matter who's voice acting the characters because the characters are animated. They're animated people. They're voice acted. But they really fumbled the bag on that movie. They really did. Okay. It was a very simple. They could have easily made the movie look like the games. Okay, I get, people are like, really? Why do you care so much? But, and also they made the Borderlands movie apparently PG-13. Like, why? Okay, the games themselves are rated M for mature. Okay, it's like making a GTA movie. Like, GTA, they can easily make that a live action movie. Okay, it can, the problem is, how would they make GTA not a generic heist movie? That would be the big problem. But Borderlands, if you played the games, I played the games. I played through Borderlands 2, 4, and I played through Borderlands, the pre-sequel 4. I've never played the first one, which is pretty funny. I've only played 2 in the pre-sequel. I've never played 3, but I heard that 3 has a really bad storyline. So I have just stayed away from Borderlands 3. I have stayed away from that game. But another failure is Holding the Purple Crayon. And, this could have easily been made an animated movie as well. I think this movie would have performed way better if it was an animated movie because it would have been so much more creativity and expressiveness in animation in an animated movie. Okay. And this movie would have appealed for kids, definitely. This is considered a kids/family movie. But this is like Borderlands. It's kind of like a lot of these movies released in August are kind of like the movies that they know no one's going to care about. So they just dump them all around because they know that Deadpool is just going to make it the huge amount of money that it is. And they know that, none of these movies will do well between Alien and Deadpool. Of course, Alien, I think, was going to do well either way if the movie was as good as the first 2 Alien movies, which I heard from people that Alien Romulus is actually a very good movie. And it took new management for them to get the act together and make an actual good Alien movie. Like, Prometheus, like, they really made an Alien movie without the aliens. It's like making a Godzilla movie without Godzilla, okay? You just can't do that, okay? You just can't do that, okay? Yeah, but Harold and Purple Crayon, no one likes this movie. It's a failure. Same for Borderlands, 2 movies I think could have been very successful if they just simply made them animated. Yeah, if they made them in animated movies, okay? Animation is so overlooked and underrated, and movies like the Borderlands movie and this Harold and Purple Crayon really shows you that Hollywood doesn't really like animation that much. I get Hollywood animation actually has a lot of problems now, especially, with the animation writers strike and stuff, but yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we have more movies that are supposed to be animated movies that become live action movies because of that. But yeah, that's about this video here. Goodbye.